Hey, today this is going to be a special video for you all, a competition versus Daxi, a fellow Pokemon Go content creator. And the competition is going to be as follows. It's called the Copy Cat Challenge. What this means is you go into Go Battle League with a team, both of us made a team for the other, and if you lose, you have to use the team that you lost against. We have 10 battles in Go Battle League to see how many wins we can possibly get. Now the team Daxi made for me is very weak to Noctowl, but we'll see what we can do. It's a Trevenant lead with Chestnut and Dunsparce. Alright, so getting into the first battle, we have our Trevenant versus Azumarill. So this is a really positive lead for us, and we'll have to see how they decide to play it. Seeing as they're deciding to stay in, this is telling me that they might be weak in the back to a Trevenant. So it could be a lot of different Pokemon back there, but what we're going to look to do is maintain switch advantage right here, because if there is a Noctowl, we hopefully want to align Dunsparce to it if we can. But we do see that they only have Play Rough, which is also something to note. If we lose against this team, we got to know the move set. So since they threw a Play Rough, it likely tells us it's going to be Play Rough and Hydro Pump. And we do get a shield there. So we're going to go ahead and go for another Seed Bomb right away. Now, my thought here is there might be a Galarian Stunfisk in the back, and there could be a Flyer as well. So let's see, it is going to be Noctowl. So we're going to go ahead and swap into Dunsparce, but they actually have a Defense Form Deoxys. This is super unfortunate for me, as I was really hoping for the Galarian Stunfisk read. That way I can apply Shield Pressure with Dunsparce here, and then have Chestnut with I'm running Smackdown, close the game out with a Smackdown and a Superpower. But unfortunately here, for us, we have to go straight for Drill Runs and hope that we can get a shield from Defense Form Deoxys. We're going to go ahead and let this charge move go through. We gotta trust the Thunderbolt, unfortunately, does a lot of damage. We gotta trust in a potential Trevenant Smackdown, or a potential Chestnut Smackdown situation. So we gotta come in with our Trevenant. We have to no-shield everything because we need our Chestnut in order to win this game, as the Psycho Boost does land for a lot of damage, and they swap in the Noctowl. So unfortunately, this is looking to be a good game. Smackdown is not doing as much damage as I thought it was going to, and the Noctowl was already at a charge move. So it goes to show that, I mean, if I had a different order here, right, if I had Dunsparce on the lead, Chestnut Safe Swap, and Trevenant in the back, I think we could have beat this team with a Trevenant sweep, because the Chestnut would have definitely brought out that Noctowl, hopefully. But we're going to go ahead and go down to Sky Attack, and that is going to be a good game, very well played. So I lost my first game, and now I have to copy that team. So now we have Azumarill on our side versus Runerigus, and we also have Noctowl and Defense Form Deoxys in the back. This is somewhat of a decent lead because we are doing super effective damage with Bubble and Ice Beam, right? But we're going to go ahead and build up to the potential Hydro Pump, and we're going to let this charge move go through, as it is a Shadow Ball. Now, they decide to swap, and they catch the charge move as well. So this is beautiful swap by my opponent, catching the Play Rough for resisted damage. We're going to go ahead and come in with the Defense Form Deoxys and look to do as much damage with counter as we can, because we can easily take this mid-game matchup and have a little bit of energy for Runerigus in the back. So thankfully, hopefully, I should say, not thankfully, hopefully, Registeel is the only counter, really, to a Noctowl. Considering they safe swapped it, my guess is there might be a Galarian Stunfisk in the back, but we will have to see. And now we're going to be forced to shield right here, as I want to maintain switch advantage. So we're going to go ahead and stop that Zap Cannon, because we can apply a lot of neutral pressure now to the Runerigus as well with the Psycho Boost, as it's going to be doing quite a bit of chip damage as we land the first one, and then we should be able to get the second one. But I decide to swap out right away because I don't want Runerigus to get ahead on energy, and my thought was maybe there's a Galarian Stunfisk in the back. Maybe we could draw that out, counter it down, but thankfully it is going to be a Sableye right here. So we're going to go ahead and get a shield there with Sky Attack, and I'm actually going to look to go for a Shadow Ball to try to do just a little bit extra damage. I think it does literally just a couple extra damage compared to Sky Attack, and then hope to farm down the Sableye, but they decide to double shield, which is okay. We can actually go for another Sky Attack here and just shield the Foul Play, and just make sure we overload on energy just a little bit, because we want to be able to get to a Sky Attack versus the Runerigus. So we're going to go ahead, load up just a little bit extra, and now go for the Sky Attack. This is going to be taking out the Sableye, and then Runerigus should go down to Noctowl right here, because we resist, unless they have Rock Tomb, we resist all the charge moves. So that is going to be a good game. So the Azumarill team got us a win. So now we are 1-1, and we don't need to copy the opponent's team. We keep going with this same team. All right, with game 3, we have Azumarill versus Venusaur. This is an incredibly tough lead, and I'm really annoyed that I don't have Ice Beam, but I have to swap into Defense Form Deoxys right away and get ahead on energy. Now, I believe I got the Psycho Boost right there on a CMP tie. We'll have to see if it actually went through, and it didn't. So Frostlass now is going to be coming in, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Thunderbolt. My hope is that they try to go for a full farm down so I can get a Thunderbolt and a Psycho Boost off, but they decide actually to throw the charge move right away, which is fine by me. Frostlass does really well against Noctowl, so having it out on the field right now is going to be advantageous for us because the Azumarill can come in and load up on energy. Now, I can't do a full farm down. This is the thing about Frostlass, is it does a lot of neutral damage with Shadow Ball. So we're going to have to load up and go for a Play Rough here because I don't want to take another Shadow Ball. Because that extra damage would just be way too much. Now, we got to swap into Noctowl right away because that Venusaur is going to be coming in. We are getting ahead on energy, and they decided to swap in a Charizard. Okay, so we have a Battle of the Flyers, and this is now going to come down to the prediction of the charge move. I'm going to go ahead and shield, thinking it's going to be a Blast Burn, and it was. That's huge. If Dragon Claw gets shielded, I lose this mid-game matchup because a Blast Burn is what's going to be taking us out, and we can just go straight for Sky Attack in this situation, as we should be able to get to 3 in time. And again, if my opponent throws another Blast Burn, we win this matchup. So let's see what they decide to do. I have to shield. I don't want to get hit by a Blast Burn. This is only my win condition. But they threw a Dragon Claw. I'm like, no, please get to the Sky Attack. And we do, just in time. Beautiful. Hopefully this is enough damage to take out the Charizard, which it is. Venusaur is coming back in, but it has energy. And we try to catch the charge move right there on our Azumarill, and I just sealed my fate, unfortunately, because Frenzy Plant now will take us out, and they might have enough energy for the Sludge Bomb. So we're going to try our best, but ultimately the Sludge Bomb is going to do a lot of neutral damage, but it's not over. Noctowl hangs on, and we get to the Sky Attack in time. So this is a good game, very well played. Noctowl clutching it up for me. Good game. I believe we are now 2-1, and we have Azumarill versus Bastiodon on the lead. So this is a good lead matchup, and they swap into Tropius, so I have to bring in the Noctowl. Now, had my Defense Form Deoxys had access to Rock Slide, if I was running that charge move, we'd be in a very good situation. I could have gone into Defense Form Deoxys, but unfortunately, I have to come in with the Noctowl, and you guys already know what this might be. Bastiodon double Razor Leaf, and I'm actually going to let them do an attack on me because I don't want the Bastiodon to farm up a lot of energy. So they're going to go ahead and do the Leaf Blade. We're going to let them load or go for double charge moves. This is perfect because now the Aerial Ace is not going to be enough to take us out, and Bastiodon is going to be coming back in, so I can go straight for a Shadow Ball right here to do some nice neutral damage. Now, this is definitely going to be a tough situation as they swap into a Shadow Victory Bell. And this is what's tough. I'm not resisting Razor Leaf. I'm taking way too much neutral damage. And I have to go for a Thunderbolt actually right here. I'm going to get a shield either way, but I don't want the attack to be lowered. So now I have to go for a Psycho Boost, and this is a good game. Unfortunately, double Razor Leaf, if you don't have the correct answers for it, is going to be taking out a lot of teams. But on the flip side, I now get to run Bastiodon double Razor Leaf because this is the Copycat Challenge. So they're going to go ahead and go for another charge move. I'm going to have to shield right here. Now we do have Hydro Pump for Bastiodon as we do see them swap in, and I can safely go for a Hydro Pump now. Overloading on energy. I should have thrown it one bubble sooner, but that's okay. If this is an XL Bastiodon, this Hydro Pump is not going to KO, and it definitely is. So that's definitely not going to do it. So we're going to be taken out here, but that's a good game. So now I get to run Bastiodon, Shadow Victory Bell, and Tropius in the next battle, I believe. We are now 2-2 in this series. I could be completely wrong. Yeah, it should be 2-2. All right, we got Lantern on the lead. So a bad lead matchup. I'm going to go ahead and swap into Tropius with Razor Leaf and just start shredding. I don't care if the Lantern gets off a Thunderbolt here. This is perfectly fine. It only does neutral damage to me. We're just doing far too much damage with Razor Leaf, and they do swap into Trevenant, catching the charge moves. That's a beautiful swap by them, as this is going to be doing resisted damage, but I should be able to get to an Aerial Ace unless they throw the Shadow Ball. Let's see, I go ahead and decide to go for the Leaf Blade. I just want to do some extra chip damage. Seeing as they caught the Leaf Blade, they probably know the count and will no-shield it, but they decided to shield right there, which is even better because now this gives me a huge situation for Bastiodon and Shadow Victory Bell to sweep this game. They did go for Seed Bomb, so as predicted, we're going to go ahead and no-shield that, come in with Bastiodon, and load up on energy. And this is the really cool thing about a Bastiodon, is even with neutral damage from Shadow Ball and Seed Bomb, we don't take too much. We can fully fast move down this Trevenant, and now that Lantern coming back in, or in this case a Medicham, is gonna get swept by Shadow Victory Bell because we can safely charge or shield the charge moves. I can speak today. Stopping the Ice Punch, which does do super effective damage. We're going to go ahead and just overload on energy and now go for the Leaf Blade to force that final shield from Medicham, as they're going to want to go for another Ice Punch to get my final shield. And I'm going to go ahead and stop that, as this is the hardest hitting move left in the game. Lantern's charge moves, Surf and Thunderbolt, are heavily resisted, so we should be able to survive even though we are a glassy shadow Pokemon right here. You guys will be able to see we survive the Surf, and then we can fast move down. Now, Medicham is going to be able to counter us down, but one Smackdown should be able to take it, and that is going to be a good battle. Very well played. All right, we are up 3-2 now. We got Bastiodon versus Defense Form Deoxys. So a bad lead. We're going to go ahead and swap into the Tropius, and they bring in Shadow Abomasnow, which is really bad for us. But in a situation when you're running a double Razor Leaf team, this is ideal because Bastiodon can come in, do super effective damage with Smackdown, and we freed up Shadow Victory Bell. That's the whole point behind a Bastiodon double Razor Leaf team, is your second Razor Leaf user should sweep teams unless they have two hard answers for Grass-type Pokemon. So we're going to go ahead and let that Energy Ball go through. We're going to fully fast move down with Smackdown. We're going to look to go for Stone Edge here versus the Defense Form Deoxys, and our Switch Clock is coming back up. So we're going to want to get into that Shadow Victory Bell as soon as possible, and they decide to stay in, now going for a Psycho Boost. So we have to shield this. Our Poison typing will take super effective damage, and let's see what that final Pokemon is going to be. They're staying in. This is looking good because that final Pokemon might be weak to our fast move, so let's see what it's going to be. We're stopping Psycho Boost number 2. And the final Pokemon is a Lantern, so that is going to be a good battle, and they do decide to surrender. Beautiful. All right, we're up 4-2 now. Bastiodon versus Lantern on the lead. Let's see how we do. We go ahead and swap into Tropius. They bring in Sableye, and this is actually a really nice answer for us because we can go for Leaf Blade. We can look to take switch advantage if we want to. There might just be a knockdown in the back, so we do get a shield right there with Leaf Blade. And we're going to go ahead and look. I did these battles last season. We're going to go ahead and look to shield the Foul Play. I think going for Switch here is probably ideal because we can just do so much damage with Razor Leaf. So we're going to go ahead and let this next Foul Play go through. We should be able to survive just fine and fast move down. And now we have loaded energy on the back end. So this is an ideal situation. They bring in the Lantern. So they must be weak in the back. It could be something like a Medicham back there, but we do get a shield with Leaf Blade, which is beautiful, and they decide to throw the charge move, which is fine. We're going to go ahead and come in with the Shadow Victory Bell here and just shred this Lantern apart. And this team is just sweeping now. It's absolutely beautiful to see, as the Surf is going to be landing but doesn't do too much damage, and the final Pokemon is a Medicham, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Leaf Blade right here. And this makes a lot of sense why they brought in Sableye into the Tropius. That was obviously their best answer, and that is going to be a good game. Very well played, as Lantern now goes down. All right, we're 5-2 right now. We're doing good. Next Pokemon is going to be Bastiodon versus Victory Bell. Okay, so this is going to be a tough one. We got to swap into Tropius right here, hoping to draw out a Pokemon, and they bring in Bastiodon, and now this might be a good game. Let's think about what common teams would have. Shadow Victory Bell, Bastiodon, and then a third. It's either going to be Galarian Stunfisk or Defense Form Deoxys, both of which is going to be tough for us to beat, because my only real answer for the Shadow Victory Bell is going to be a charge move from Bastiodon, or just fast moves from our own Shadow Victory Bell. So we got to let this go, and then we need to come in with our Bastiodon here and load up on energy. Smackdown isn't going to do too much damage, but we can easily tank these charge moves. There's no reason to shield. We're going to let these go. We're going to load up on energy and just fully farm down. That way we have a flamethrower ready to go on the back end for that Shadow Victory Bell that is likely going to be coming in. But no, it's going to be a Galarian Stunfisk. So this is now a checkmate for me because I can't do any damage to it with our fast moves. We have to bring in our own Shadow Victory Bell, but now I'm behind on energy, so they should be able to get an acid spray off on me, which means the health that I'm ahead on them, right, our green health bar to their yellow health bar is going to be caught back up very quickly, as you guys can see. Now I go for my own acid spray. My hope is that I can take out their Shadow Victory Bell and then do as much Razor Leaf damage, but unfortunately we're both going to go down at the exact same time, and that is going to be a good game. There's really nothing I can do here, as Galarian Stunfisk is going to outpace us to 2 Earthquakes as opposed to us getting to 2 Flamethrowers. So I let the charge move go through. My only win condition was if that was a Rock Slide. Good game. All right, so now we have to use that team. We have Shadow Victory Bell, Bastiodon, and Galarian Stunfisk, and we're facing off against an Altaria with a Medicham swap into our Galarian Stunfisk safe swap. Now, I believe we are 5-3 right here, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Earthquake, applying some neutral pressure here to the Medicham. We do get a shield, so that's very big for us in order to potentially win this game, as we can safely let this charge move go through. It's typically going to be an Ice Punch, and then we're going to look to go for our own Earthquake, but they get to another Ice Punch in time, and my hope is that we survive, but I don't think we will. Yeah, unfortunately, we go down right there. All right, we got to bring in Shadow Victory Bell and shred this Medicham apart with Razor Leaf and hope that Bastiodon can close this game out. Now, with an Altaria lead and a Medicham swap into Galarian Stunfisk, there could be a lot of options back there, and most of them typically will beat a Bastiodon. So let's see what it's going to be. The Altaria decides to come in, so we're going to go ahead and go for the Acid Spray here, and then now swap into our Bastiodon, get ahead on energy, and the final Pokemon is Registeel. So, this is going to be a good game. That looks to be my final team, as we will be running Altaria, Medicham, and Registeel, because Focus Blast here just does so much damage. There's nothing I can really do. As you guys will see, 2 flamethrowers, or 1 flamethrower is not enough to take them out. They still have a shield, so I need to get to 3 in order to take out the Registeel. So we're going to go ahead and just let these charge moves go through. And that is going to be a good game, very well played. Yeah, we're just going to let it go through. I know I don't want to surrender just to keep the game going, but let's see. We're going to move into a final battle. We are using Altaria and Registeel and Medicham. We face off against a Frostlass, so we have to swap into our own Medicham right here and get ahead on energy, and they bring in a Lantern. This is actually a really beautiful situation for us, because I can go for Power Up Punch and try to get a shield bait here from my opponent, which we do! Now, you may be wondering, why am I not using Ice Punch? At the time of recording these battles, I was actually out of charge TMs. I could not remove it because I trying to get Ice Punch on my Medicham, and it kept cycling between Dynamic Punch and Power Up Punch back and forth, and I ultimately ran out of TM. So I have to roll with this moveset. But we do land the Psychic there, which means we take switch advantage, which is beautiful. Now, Medicham typically isn't a swap-in to Frostlass, but it's a lot better of a matchup than an Altaria into a Frostlass, so I'll take that. Now, they decide to bring back in the Frostlass, which is going to allow us to get to the Psychic right here, and it's all going to be about what that final Pokemon is. So I'm actually going to swap now back into Registeel, because we got the final shield, and Frostlass with energy is the most dangerous thing in this meta, so you don't want them to farm down the Medicham. Now, the final Pokemon is going to be a Diggersby right here, so we're going to go ahead and go for Focus Blast for super effective damage, and I have to call the Earthquake now. This is going to be a very tough call. We're going to go ahead and look to shield, and it was just a Fire Punch. So now it's going to be a race, but I do have the Focus Blast already, and this is looking like a good game. But you guys got to remember, Frostlass is loaded on energy. 2 Shadow Balls is enough to take out Registeel. My Altaria will lose the pacing to Frostlass, and my Medicham will get taken out. So what I have to do here is catch the charge move on Medicham in order to win this game, because Registeel's Zap Cannon is the only thing that can do it. So that is going to be a good battle. Very well played, as we can get to the Zap Cannon in time. Boom! Takes out the Frostlass, and we're able to turn this 10 battles into a 6-4 run doing the Copycat challenge. So this was a lot of fun. This idea and this strategy of I have to use the opponent's team if I lose really challenges you with your knowledge of the Pokemon and the team synergies that's there in order to try to get some winning sets. So ultimately, it was a ton of fun. Huge shout out to Daxi. If you guys want to go check out his video, it is live now on his channel. There'll be linked down in the description and pinned comment for you guys to go check that out to see his side and what happened with his Copycat battles. But ultimately, it was a ton of fun, and I love collaborations like this. So huge shout out to Daxi for doing this Copycat Go Battle League challenge with me. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video, and like always, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.